We start with the M4A1, the universal carbine that Delta Force has carried into more operations than any other rifle in the unit's history. Modular, reliable, and compact enough for close quarters work, it's the foundation that every Delta operator builds his kit around. The HK416, the piston-driven evolution that Delta Force adopted after years of experience, showed that cleaner running systems meant fewer malfunctions in the most critical moments. When the mission allows zero margin for error, the HK416 is the rifle that Delta operators reach for, because it runs clean even when everything around it is covered in mud, sand, and blood. The HK416 D10RS, the 10-inch barreled variant specifically configured for close-quarters battle in the tight corridors and doorways of urban combat environments. Short enough to clear a room without snogging on door frames, powerful enough to stop a threat immediately, it's the compromise that Delta's assault element has refined over decades of direct action. The HK417, the larger caliber sibling chambered in 7.62 NATO, used by Delta's designated marksmen for precision fire at ranges that the M4 and HK416 can't reliably reach. When a target needs to be engaged beyond 300 meters with absolute certainty, the HK417 bridges the gap between assault rifle and dedicated sniper system. The CQBR Mark 18, a 10-inch barreled upper receiver built specifically for the most confined combat environments, maritime boarding, underground facilities, and the cramped interior spaces of vehicles and aircraft. The shortest effective carbine in Delta's arsenal, and the one most likely to be found in the hands of an operator who knows exactly how small the spaces he's about to enter will be. The HKG-28, a compact semi-automatic designated marksman rifle that Delta has used for precision fire support in environments where a full-length sniper system is impractical. Light enough to carry on an assault, accurate enough to reach targets at 500 meters, it fills the gap that no other weapon in Delta's kit covers as effectively. Moving to sniper systems, because Delta Force operates with its own organic precision capability that doesn't depend on external support. The HK-PSG-1, one of the most accurate semi-automatic sniper rifles ever built, used by Delta in the early years of the unit's existence for hostage rescue scenarios where precision was measured in centimeters. A single shot needed to free a hostage without harm, and the PSG-1 was the weapon that gave Delta snipers the confidence to take it. The M24 Sniper Weapon System, a bolt-action precision rifle chambered in 7.62 NATO that Delta snipers used for surgical long-range work throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. Built on a Remington 700 action, accurate to sub-half MOA in trained hands, it was the precision instrument that Delta snipers trusted for the shots that decided entire operations. The Barrett M82, the .5 caliber semi-automatic anti-material rifle that Delta has deployed for long-range interdiction, vehicle destruction, and the neutralization of hardened targets at distances that smaller calibers couldn't reach. Not a sniper rifle in the traditional sense, a precision destruction system that turns a single operator into a threat capable of stopping a vehicle, destroying a radar dish, or eliminating a high-value target through cover at ranges exceeding a mile. The Macmillan TAC-338, chambered in .338 Lapua Magnum, the precision system that Delta snipers have used for the most demanding long-range engagements of the post-9/11 era. The cartridge that bridges the gap between 7.62 NATO and .5 BMG, hitting harder than anything smaller while remaining light enough for a sniper to carry on a foot patrol without requiring a vehicle to transport. The Accuracy International AXMC, a modular precision rifle system that allows Delta snipers to switch calibers in the field between .308, .300 Win Mag, and .338 Lapua Magnum. One chassis, 3 calibers, infinite mission flexibility, the kind of system that Delta's equipment philosophy demands above everything else. Now, submachine guns, the weapons Delta reaches for when the mission demands absolute discretion or the tightest possible profile. The MP5SD, the suppressed variant of the legendary MP5 that Delta Force used extensively in the 1980s and 1990s for hostage rescue and direct action missions where noise discipline was as critical as accuracy. So quiet that a suppressed shot is almost indistinguishable from the mechanical action cycling, the weapon of choice for operations where the second shot depends on the enemy not knowing the first one was fired. The MP5K, the ultra-compact variant that protective detail operators concealed under jackets and in vehicle compartments for close protection missions, where a full-size weapon was impossible to carry discreetly. The HK-MP7, the personal defense weapon that replaced the MP5K in Delta's close protection and vehicle crew role, firing a 4.6 by 30mm cartridge specifically designed to penetrate body armor at ranges where pistol calibers would fail. Smaller than a submachine gun, more capable than a pistol, and able to defeat the threat that neither of them could handle, the MP7 is the weapon that fills the gap between everything else. The MK-18 CQB-R with suppressor, the configuration that Delta's assault operators most commonly carry into direct action in the post-9/11 era. Short enough for any environment, suppressed enough for noise-sensitive operations. The suppressor doesn't silence it, but it reduces the acoustic signature enough to protect operators' hearing, reduce muzzle flash, and create enough confusion about the direction of fire to give the assault element a decisive advantage in the critical first seconds. Moving to pistols, the weapons that Delta operators carry as a matter of professional discipline, knowing that if they need them, something has gone wrong. The Sig Sauer P226, the pistol that Delta Force carried for decades as its standard sidearm, accurate, reliable, and handling every environment from tropical humidity to desert heat without complaint. 15 rounds of 9mm in a package that an operator can draw and fire with one hand, while the other hand is occupied with something else entirely, the definition of a professional's sidearm. The Glock 22, chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson, a period when Delta adopted the same caliber as federal law enforcement agencies for operational reasons that were as much logistical as they were ballistic. The Glock 19, now the most common Delta sidearm, compact, reliable, and carrying 15 rounds of 9mm in a package that conceals under civilian clothing for the undercover and low-profile operations that define much of Delta's current workload. The Sig Sauer P320, the modular pistol that allows operators to reconfigure grip size, caliber, and slide length to match the specific demands of each mission profile. One pistol, infinite configurations, the same philosophy that governs Delta's entire weapons selection process applied to the sidearm that most operators hope they never have to use. The HK-45 Compact Tactical, a .45 caliber pistol with a threaded barrel for suppressor attachment that Delta has used for operations requiring suppressed pistol fire, the quietest possible last resort. When the mission requires absolute silence and the primary weapon has failed, a suppressed .45 is the most decisive handgun available to an operator who needs to end a threat without making a sound. Now, machine guns, the weapons that Delta's assault elements use to establish fire superiority and keep enemy heads down while the assault force closes with its objective. The M249 SAW, the squad automatic weapon that Delta has carried into operations requiring sustained suppressive fire. A belt-fed 5.56mm machine gun that can pour enough rounds downrange to pin an entire enemy position. Heavy for a man already carrying a full assault kit, but when the mission requires a wall of fire, nothing else in Delta's arsenal provides it as efficiently. The MK46 Mod 0, a lightened version of the M249 specifically developed for Special Operations Forces who needed belt-fed firepower without the weight penalty of the standard infantry version. 3 pounds lighter than the M249, with a shorter barrel and no vehicle mounting equipment, stripped of everything that Special Operations Forces don't need and optimized for everything they do. the Mk48 Mod 0, a 7.62 NATO belt-fed machine gun developed specifically for Special Operations Forces who needed heavier caliber fire support without carrying a full-size M240. More powerful than the Mk46 at longer ranges, light enough to carry on a foot patrol, the machine gun that Delta's assault elements have used to provide heavy fire support in the most demanding direct action missions of the past 2 decades. The M240B, the full-size 7.62 NATO machine gun that Delta deploys for vehicle-mounted operations and fixed defensive positions where weight is less critical than sustained fire capability. The gun that NATO forces have standardized on for vehicle mounts and crew-served fire support, reliable, accurate, and capable of maintaining fire rates that smaller weapons cannot sustain. Moving to grenade launchers and explosive weapons, because Delta Force needs to be able to destroy hardened positions, breach fortified entry points, and suppress enemy forces at ranges beyond direct fire. The M203 grenade launcher, mounted under the M4A1, giving every Delta operator with one attached the ability to put a 40mm high-explosive round on a target at ranges up to 300 meters. One trigger for bullets, one for grenades, the dual-threat configuration that has defined American Special Operations for 4 decades. The M320, the modern replacement for the M203, standalone capable, side-loading for faster reloads and compatible with the full range of 40mm munitions from high explosive to smoke to less lethal. The M72LAW, a disposable rocket launcher that Delta operators have carried as insurance against vehicle threats in fortified positions since the unit's earliest operations. Light enough to carry several on a single operator, powerful enough to destroy a light armored vehicle, the just-in-case weapon that has saved operations when unexpected threats appeared. The AT-4, an 84mm unguided rocket launcher that Delta has used to defeat heavier armored threats and breach reinforced structures that smaller explosive charges couldn't penetrate. Single-use, shoulder-fired, and capable of defeating the armor of any vehicle likely to be encountered in a direct action mission, the heavy option when everything lighter has already been tried. The Carl Gustav M3 recoilless rifle, the reusable 84mm system that Delta has used for its ability to fire multiple round types, anti-armor, high-explosive, illumination, and smoke from a single reloadable weapon. The most versatile direct-fire support weapon in Delta's arsenal, capable of reshaping the tactical situation with a single well-placed round, regardless of what that situation requires. Finally, the weapons that Delta carries that the public knows least about. The specialized tools built for the specific mission profiles that define Tier 1 special operations. The suppressed .300 blackout upper receiver, a conversion that transforms a standard M4 or HK416 lower into a subsonic precision weapon capable of engaging targets with suppressed fire that is genuinely hearing safe without hearing protection. The same lower receiver, the same trigger, the same manual of arms, but a fundamentally different capability that allows the same operator to switch between standard and suppressed configurations in seconds. The Mk13 Mod 5 sniper rifle, chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum, used by Delta's precision element for the longest-range engagements in the unit's operational history. A cartridge that reaches further than 7.62 NATO and hits harder than .338 Lapua at extreme range, the choice for operations where the distance between the sniper and the target measures in miles rather than meters. The HK-G36C, used during specific operational periods for its ambidextrous controls and integrated optic rail in environments where standard M4 platform weapons were less suitable. The Nightforce ATA-CR scope, not a weapon itself but the optical system that transforms Delta's precision rifles from capable tools into surgical instruments, the glass that allows a sniper to identify, confirm, and engage a target at distances that would be impossible with lesser optics. The ANPEQ-15 laser aiming device, the infrared laser and illuminator that allows Delta operators to aim their weapons precisely in complete darkness using night vision, turning every carbine into a precision instrument the moment the lights go out. Every weapon on this list becomes exponentially more capable when paired with ANPEQ-15 and night vision, and Delta Force owns the night more completely than any fighting force in history. Delta Force doesn't select weapons by committee or by tradition. Every item on this list was chosen because it performed better than every alternative in the specific conditions that Delta operators face. The unit is constantly evaluating, constantly testing, and constantly replacing weapons that no longer meet the standard with ones that do. The result is the most precisely calibrated individual weapon suite ever assembled for a fighting force. And somewhere, right now, in a location that will never appear in any public record, operators carrying these weapons are executing a mission that the world will never hear about, until something goes wrong. And nothing ever does.